John Vance and I used to have a secret arrangement. He paid for my education, and I slept with him. Then, he said he wanted to get married and start a family. So he ended it. Just like that. Years later, we met again. I was with my advisor, trying to get him to invest in our research. After a few too many drinks, I grabbed onto him and wouldn't let go. I make $3,000 a month now. I'll give you 2. Will you sleep with me? My colleagues tried to smooth things over. She's probably just drunk. Mr. Vance must look a lot like her dead ex-boyfriend. His face was thunderous. So, you've been telling everyone I'm dead? My advisor, Professor Davis, was taking us out to beg for funding again. On the way, he prepped us relentlessly. Listen up. If you can drink, you drink. If you can talk, you talk. I need you all to be sharp. One of the other students whined, but we're not escorts. The rumor was that this investor was some uncultured guy who'd gotten rich as a street hustler. New money loves to flex at the dinner table, a ritual that we students dreaded most. You think I want to be doing this? We're out of research funding. How am I supposed to support you guys? If I can't land this investment, I'll have to ship you all off to a joint program somewhere. That shut everyone up. We all knew Professor Davis had it rough. With our funding cut, he was more desperate than anyone. Just then, the door swung open. Sorry to keep you waiting, Professor Davis. A deep voice cut through the room. It set off a wave of whispers. I thought he was supposed to be some tasteless rich guy. How is he so young and handsome? That presence is unreal. I slowly looked up. 5 years. And just like that, we were face to face again. John Vance had changed a lot. He'd lost his youthful swagger, now dressed in a tailored suit. But the wildness in his eyes was still there, just deeper and more intense now. My advisor shot to his feet. Mr. Vance, it's an honor. These are a few of my less than brilliant students. John gave a slight nod and took the head seat at the table, his gaze sweeping over us. Professor Davis gave us a look, and we all stood up to toast. The same students who were complaining moments ago were now falling over themselves to be first. Mr. Vance, a toast to you. It's incredible what you've achieved at such a young age. Mr. Vance, we look forward to working with you. I shrank into the corner, keeping my head as low as I could. Mr. Vance, this is my PhD student, Jane Miller. My advisor called me out. Don't just stand there. Come on, toast Mr. Vance. I stood up stiffly, raising my glass, unable to meet his eyes. Hello, Mr. Vance. He just sat there, not raising his own glass, just watching me. Professor Davis tried to smooth it over. This one's a quiet one. All she knows is how to bury her head in her studies. Not much of a talker. John's eyes landed on my face, tracing every inch of it. After a long moment, he finally spoke. A love for learning is a good thing. My advisor jumped on it. Exactly. Jane has been with me since her master's program. Her skills are top-notch. To be honest, Mr. Vance, our project has a fantastic outlook, it's just the funding. He shot me a pointed look. I took a deep breath and forced myself to meet his gaze. Mr. Vance, our project's data is solid, and the potential is enormous. If you're willing to invest. He let out a short, sharp laugh, cutting me off. Ms. Miller, I'm a businessman. I only care about transactions. Those words, transactions, stabbed me in the heart. Right. Transactions. In the past, he paid for my education, and I slept with him. Now, here I was, begging him for money again. When I was 18, my mom remarried, bringing me along as baggage. I can't even remember which husband he was. The man was nice to me. He'd buy me new clothes, give me an allowance, and pat my head with a smile. For a moment, I almost believed I'd finally found the fatherly love I never had. Until one night, when he silently crept to my bed. He said if I was good, He'd give me money and make sure my mom and I had a good life. I cried and told my mom. She slapped me and accused me of dressing provocatively to seduce him. She screamed at me for being shameless, for trying to steal her man. In that moment, I was completely lost. I was too scared to go home after school. I barely had any money. There was an internet cafe near the school that offered an all-nighter pass for just $20. The owner was some local tough guy with bleached blonde hair and arms covered in tattoos. The place was a hangout for delinquents, filled with the sounds of keyboards clacking and the smell of cigarette smoke. I hesitated at the door for a long time before daring to go in. An all-nighter pass. He looked up, his brow high and his eyes narrow. You 18? His thuggish vibe terrified me. I quickly pulled out my ID. Thankfully, I just turned 18 last month. There was a small private booth in the cafe with a computer and a tiny, narrow sofa. I dropped my backpack, read my books, and did my homework. When I was hungry, I'd nibble on half a bun left over from lunch. When I was tired, I'd curl up on that little sofa. It was hard, and it got cold at night. But it was the cheapest place I could find. At least no one would try to pull off my clothes in the middle of the night. For the next few days, I went there right after school. Finally, after I handed him my ID one more time, John Vance looked up, annoyed. You're a student. What are you doing wasting your days in an internet cafe instead of studying? You'll get catfished and scammed, and you'll have nowhere to go crying. I opened my mouth, then looked down and mumbled, it's none of your business. He swore, shit, and ignored me. Until one night, the guys in the next booth got drunk and kicked my door open. Well, hello there, little Miss Innocent. Must be cold sleeping alone. How about I keep you company? I shrank into the corner, trembling all over. John heard the commotion, stormed in, and threw the guy out the door. He kicked him viciously. You want to start trouble on my turf? You got a death wish? He didn't hold back. The guy's screams went on and on. When he came back, his anger hadn't faded. He glared at me. You're not even using the computer. What the hell are you doing here every day? I am. The computer's been off the whole time. What kind of internet are you surfing? He impatiently tried to kick me out. Go home. This is no place for a student. I didn't move. After a long pause, I said quietly, I don't have a home. He ran a hand through his hair in frustration, then grabbed my backpack. Follow me. Behind the internet cafe was a shabby old one-bedroom apartment. The place was a mess. Clothes were piled on the sofa, and a few beer cans sat on the coffee table. He pointed around. Here. $10 a day. You in or out? I had no other choice, and no energy to worry about whether it was safe. I'm in. He tossed me a key and left. John rarely came back. Sometimes he was at the internet cafe, other times out doing God knows what. I went straight there from school every day. At lunch, I'd buy an extra bun at the cafeteria to eat for dinner. On the 5th day of my stay, as I was chewing on a cold bun, he walked in. Move, he said with a frown. Clutching my bun, I obediently scooted over. He placed a bag of kebabs on the table and started eating by himself. The smell of grilled meat filled the air. I kept chewing my bun, secretly swallowing my drool. He glanced at me. Want some? I asked cautiously, does it cost money? He suddenly laughed. You clean up when we're done. To me, back then, those few skewers of meat were salvation. After that, he started coming back more often, always with food. Sometimes it was barbecue, sometimes fried noodles, sometimes a steaming bowl of wontons. It was so delicious that, years later, I can still remember the taste. He'd watch me wolf it down and laugh. Janie, you sure can eat, huh? The truth was, I was starving. I'd skip breakfast, eat the cheapest thing for lunch, and have a single cold bun for dinner. What he brought back was the only real meal I had all day. After eating, I'd study on the sofa. He'd play video games next to me, sometimes lighting a cigarette when he was bored. He often stayed up late. Occasionally, he'd glance at the time and bark at me, "Janie, get your ass to bed." I'd say, "Okay," and slowly get up. I couldn't help but add, "John, smoking is bad for your health." He was nonchalant. "Live or die, it's all up to fate." I added in a small voice, "The internet says smoking can make you infertile." He froze, then cursed, "Shit, why didn't you say so sooner?" I slept in the bedroom, and he usually just crashed on the sofa after his games. The sofa was small and he was tall, his legs couldn't even stretch out straight. But he could always fall asleep instantly, his sleep quality was amazing. I never thought I'd cross paths with someone like him. He was so intimidating, so brutal in a fight that even the school bullies were scared of his name. And here I was, the so-called good student, crammed into a tiny, run-down apartment with this gangster type, forming a strangely harmonious relationship. Eventually, I ran out of money completely. "John, the rent, can I pay you back after I graduate?" He raised an eyebrow. "Can you do laundry, cook, and clean? You can work off your debt." From then on, I took over all the housework. He even started paying me a salary. With that money, I could finally afford to eat properly at school. The days I lived there became the most stable time of my life. He had a lot of friends, both guys and girls. Someone saw the newly clean apartment and was shocked. "Damn, John, since when is your place so clean?" When they saw me, they started teasing him even more. "Holy shit. Hiding a girl in your bachelor pad? If Crystal finds out, she's gonna lose it." I'd seen that girl, Crystal. She was tall, stunning, with a fiery personality. So that was his type. One day, she cornered me, her tone hostile. "What's your relationship with John?" I was silent for a long time before squeezing out, "You should ask him." When John got back that night, he stared at me with a knowing look. "Janie, what's our relationship?" I felt so guilty I couldn't look up. "And no relationship." He snorted and tossed a bag of walnuts at me. "Heard these are good for your brain. You could use some." That day, he proudly showed off his ability to crack walnuts with his bare hands. Cool, right? Heh, a little dorky. Of course, I didn't dare say that. I asked him, "John, why do you have blonde hair?" He got mad. "What blonde?" "This is golden." "Oh, golden. Like a retriever?" He shot me a look. "Janie, you're getting bold, aren't you?" But this time, I wasn't scared. As I got to know him, I realized that while he was gruff, it was mostly just talk. That day, I carefully told him, "John, I want to get into the state university. It's in the suburbs, just 2 bus transfers away." He stuffed a handful of walnuts into my mouth. "You think a top university is that easy to get into? Better start feeding that wooden brain of yours." Just before my college entrance exams, my mom suddenly showed up at school to pick me up. She told me, "Jane, that bastard got into some trouble a while back and ran off. Come home with me, I'll cook you something good." She bought me new clothes and combed my hair. I thought she still cared about me. Until we got home and I saw a few strangers sitting in the living room. "I've found a husband for you. He owns a factory in the county, he's very well off." So, she was trying to sell me. When I refused, she slapped me. "Don't think I don't know about you and that little punk. You shameless thing, selling yourself at such a young age. I raised you all these years, it's time you paid me back. What's the point of school? Marrying a good man is the right path." She took my ID and locked me in the house. 2 days later, John kicked the door down. The moment he reached his hand out to me, I finally broke down and cried. My mom shrieked in terror but still found the courage to yell, "She's my daughter. You can't just sleep with my daughter for free." Her voice was loud, and the neighbors all came out to watch the spectacle. I froze, mortified. John just asked her in a cold voice. "How much do you want?" My mom said, 100,000. He turned and left, returning shortly with a bag full of cash. "From this day on, Jane Miller has nothing to do with you." He grabbed my wrist tightly and led me out of that alley. I followed behind him, wiping away tears. He turned and glared at me fiercely. "Stop crying. It's annoying as hell." During the 2 days of my exams, he cleared his schedule and waited for me outside the testing center. The night after my last exam, after we finished dinner, I gathered all my courage and hugged him from behind. "John, you can sleep in the bed tonight." His body stiffened. "What do you mean?" "I can't pay you back." In truth, with every day the exams got closer, my anxiety grew. Once they were over, I'd have no excuse to stay. But I stubbornly wanted to create a deeper bond with him. He had bought my freedom from my family for $100,000. But it also made our relationship even more unequal. All these years later, our positions still haven't changed. Back then, I needed money for school. Now, I need money for research. He sat in the head seat, watching impassively as I toasted him glass after glass. But he wouldn't budge. "I still need to evaluate this project further." What a textbook capitalist. I cursed him under my breath. By the end, the alcohol went to my head and my mind went blank. I looked at a face that looked so much like John's and threw my arms around him. You look so much like him. I make $3,000 a month now. I'll give you 2. Will you sleep with me?" The room fell silent. My advisor's face went pale with terror. "Mr. Vance, please don't mind her. My student is drunk, she's just talking nonsense." John toyed with his wine glass, watching me with amusement. "Ms. Miller is only offering me $2,000. I clutched his tie, arguing my case. "What's wrong with $2,000? You're getting old and saggy. You think you can compete with the young guys?" "Heh, I'm old and saggy." He laughed, but it was laced with anger. His gaze swept over me, predatory. "I guess I can't compare to Ms. Miller. So tight." "Mr. Vance, she's really drunk, she's not usually this talkative." Professor Davis was sweating bullets. One of my lab mates tried to explain for me. "Maybe Mr. Vance just reminds her of her dead ex-boyfriend. That's why she's..." Before she could finish, John's face darkened. The hand on my waist tightened abruptly. "Jane Miller, who's dead?" "Professor Davis, I'm dead, I'm dead." I looked at his face, so close to mine, and was about to open my mouth. Ulp. With a retch, I threw up all over him. The next day, I was getting a lecture in my advisor's office. "Jane, oh, Jane. You're usually so quiet you wouldn't say boo to a goose, but when you're drunk you're a wild animal. What is wrong with you?" "I get it, Mr. Vance is handsome. It's fine to have a little crush, but you're going to try and buy him? $2,000 a month to sleep with you? Do you hear yourself? Where would he sleep? In your dorm? Have you considered the well-being of your roommate? Is she supposed to stand guard at the door for you?" I wished the ground would swallow me whole. "Professor, I'm sorry. Luckily, Mr. Vance is a good sport. You puked all over him yesterday, and he didn't even get mad. He was even nice enough to bring you back." He took a breath and gave his final command. "Today, you're coming with me to apologize to him in person. And you better be sincere. Whether this project gets funded or not is all up to John Vance now." On the way to his company, Professor Davis filled me in on John's story. He may not have a fancy education, but he's decisive and has a killer instinct. I heard he made a fortune in real estate a few years ago, and now he's pivoted to the tech industry and become one of the new titans. 5 years. He had gone so far, becoming even more unreachable. And I felt like I was stuck in a time loop, just going to school, and still broke as a joke. John's company was on the top floor of a downtown high-rise, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the bustling city. A secretary led us to a meeting room. He still had that same cold, detached look. Professor Davis plastered on a smile. "Mr. Vance, we are so sorry about last night. My student, well, I brought her here today specifically to apologize." He gave me a nudge. I forced myself to step forward, not daring to look him in the eye. "Mr. Vance, I drank too much yesterday. I'm sorry. Please forgive me." My advisor quickly jumped in. Yes, yesterday was the anniversary of her ex-boyfriend's death. She was emotional and had too much to drink, that's why. My heart sank. This old man could really spin a tale. Hearing this, John raised an eyebrow, a playful look in his eyes. "Anniversary? I'm curious, how did Ms. Miller's ex-boyfriend die?" Professor Davis answered for me, "A terminal illness." He had a terminal illness. He then added, "But don't worry, Mr. Vance, Jane is long past it. Her mental state is very stable, and it definitely won't affect her research progress. She was just drunk yesterday and mistook you for someone else. She has no other intentions toward you, you can rest completely assured." To make it more believable, he added another line. "She has a boyfriend now, too." John's eyes darkened. "Is that so?" Yes, an underclassman from the same university. He chased her for a long time, everyone in the lab knows about it. They're great together, thick as thieves. You can be sure she has absolutely no ulterior motives regarding you." Professor Davis shot me a look that said, "Aren't I brilliant?" John was silent for a moment before speaking coolly. "That's good to hear." My advisor pressed his advantage. "Mr. Vance, about our project." He paused, seeming to weigh his options. "I'm still very interested in the project. However, my company needs to understand some of the details more deeply. Would it be possible to borrow Ms. Miller for a few days? To assist us with some evaluation work?" Hearing this, my advisor's eyes lit up. "No problem, use her as you wish. Jane is the most outstanding student I've ever had." Did Professor Davis just sell me out? After we left John's office. "Professor, can I not go?" He started giving me a lecture on the greater good. "Jane, the fate of our entire lab rests on this. Everyone's stipends and graduations are on the line. Just make a small sacrifice, okay?" But how could I explain that John and I had a sordid past? Seeing my hesitation, he lowered his voice. "I still have a first author paper I can give you. Professor, I'll go." Those words were enough to make me walk through fire. I steeled myself and reported for duty at John's company. "Ms. Miller, hello. Mr. Vance is still in a meeting. Please have a seat." While I waited, the friendly receptionist started chatting with me. I couldn't resist my curiosity and whispered, "Hey, how old is the boss's kid?" The young woman looked stunned. "Kid? Mr. Vance doesn't have any kids." "None? Huh. Is it because he can't have any? He was the one who said he wanted to get married and have kids." The receptionist looked incredulous. "Mr. Vance isn't even married." My heart skipped a beat. "He's still not married?" A wave of emotion, somewhere between relief and sorrow, washed over me. After a few seconds, I muttered to myself, "So he's just an old bachelor nobody wants." As soon as the words left my mouth. "Jane Miller." A clearly displeased voice came from behind me. I jumped. I'm so dead. Of all the things to say, why did he have to overhear that? I followed John Vance to his office. My mind was still ringing with the words "isn't even married." During my junior year, he had calmly informed me, "I want to get married and have kids, so let's end this." I cried and begged him, "Just wait one more year for me. We can get married after I graduate." But he just said, "Janie, don't be so cheap." Right. I was always the cheap one, throwing myself at him. It started when I was 18, the day I took the initiative to hug him. Back then, he pushed me away. "Janie, you don't have to pay me back like this. Don't get mixed up with someone like me. There's no future in it." I cried pathetically. "John, you're a good person." He looked like he found that hilarious. "Heh, are you an idiot? I've got no money, no education, and I'm years older than you. You're gonna throw yourself at me for $100,000? Do you have any idea what it costs to keep a college student these days?" I didn't know, and I didn't want to know. I just held on to him stubbornly. "John, I like you." He was silent. I stood on my tiptoes, clumsily trying to kiss him. But he was too tall. No matter how hard I tried, I could only reach his chin. He stared down at me and suddenly smiled. Then he leaned down and kissed me hard. "If I don't lean down, you think you can reach?" That day, in that small apartment, we were tangled together from afternoon until sunset. His sweat dripped onto my neck. I was adrift on an endless wave, nervous and clumsy, but a secret flower was blooming in my heart. That summer, I spent almost every day in that little apartment. My mom took the money and disappeared. John sold the internet cafe. When I asked why, he just said, "Don't worry about it. I'm going to make some real money." He became incredibly busy, often not coming back until almost dawn, sometimes with new injuries. As I tended to his wounds, my heart ached and tears fell. "John, why are you always getting hurt? Can you please quit that job?" He never said what he did, but I had a vague idea he was working as security at a nightclub, a dangerous and chaotic place. He just shrugged it off. "You call this an injury?" When he saw I was still crying, he would shut me up with a kiss. That summer, we were endlessly entangled in that small bed, as if trying to exhaust all our energy. Before school started, he took me to the mall and, with a wave of his hand, bought me a new phone, a laptop, and a pile of new clothes. We also went to the beach together. The salty sea breeze, the circling gulls, the endless blue. It was my first time seeing the ocean, and I excitedly took a ton of pictures. I secretly set a photo of us as my phone's wallpaper, but when he saw it, he frowned. "Change it." I froze. He didn't want anyone to know about us. I silently lowered my head, fighting the sting in my nose, and deleted the picture. He gave me a debit card. "From now on, just focus on school. Don't keep coming back here, I'm too busy to see you." After school started, he really never contacted me again. Until I was framed by my roommate for stealing her watch, a watch worth $3,000. They tried to search me by force. In a fit of anger, I slapped her. They then insisted I was acting guilty and took the issue to our professor. The dean of students called my guardian, and John showed up at the school. Even though the other student was wrong to accuse her, she shouldn't have hit her. John didn't say much. But when he sat down, he inadvertently revealed the tattoos on his arm. "Sorry my kid caused you trouble, Professor. First, let's talk about her being falsely accused of theft. How are we going to resolve this?" The dean's tone instantly softened. "Mr. Vance, please don't get excited, Jane hit her because she was wronged. We'll have the other students apologize to her." That day, as he took me away from the school, he asked, "Why aren't you spending the money I gave you? Your professor said you're always working part-time jobs." I looked down. I have a lot of free time in college, might as well do something. The truth was, I didn't want to spend his money. It felt like if I did, our relationship would be nothing more than a financial transaction. I had checked the card. There was $30,000 in it, more than enough for me to live well. But my pathetic pride was getting in the way. Later, John went to see my advisor and handed her a gift bag. "Could you please give this to Jane?" It was a women's watch that cost over $10,000. After that, no one dared to look down on me again. A rumor even started that Jane's brother was in the mob, so naturally, no one dared to bully me. That day, I worked up the courage to ask John, "Can I come back for the weekend? He said, come back if you want. After that, I often took the hour-and-a-half bus ride back on weekends. Watching the scenery outside the window gradually shift from bustling city to familiar streets, a sense of peace would settle in my heart. John was still nocturnal, and living alone, the apartment was always a mess. I would give the place a thorough cleaning, change the sheets, and put a few cheap fresh flowers in a glass bottle. He seemed to be getting busier and busier, often collapsing into bed the moment he got home. We didn't have much time together, and when we did see each other, we couldn't help but end up in bed. He'd lie under the pink duvet with a disgusted look on his face. You're making a grown man sleep under this girly thing. Should I change it? He'd grab me. Forget it. It's too far from your school. I rented an apartment near campus for you. If the dorms aren't comfortable, you can stay there. I was stunned for a long moment. Was he worried about my commute, or did he not want to see me? Will you come visit? He said, we'll see. He almost never contacted me first. He probably didn't really like me, I thought. How could you like someone and not miss them? The few times he did call, it was mostly to say, I sent you some money. Did you get it? He often sent me money, in varying amounts. I'd ask him, are you coming over today? He would just give a flat MHM. Every time he was coming over, I'd be secretly thrilled. And I'd feel pathetic and cheap. Like his kept woman. For many nights, I was trapped in an unsolvable loop. Craving his warmth, yet sinking into it with full awareness. My sophomore year, he and a friend opened a small bar. Business was good that year, and he bought a car. He got even busier, surrounded by all sorts of friends, most of whom loved to party. I, on the other hand, was quiet and boring, a total mismatch for his world. Maybe he'd been sick of me for a long time. Until one day, I found a lipstick stain on a jacket he'd taken off. I said, trembling, John, let's break up. He froze. What did you say? I laughed at myself. You're right. We were never really together, so it's not a breakup. He got irritated. I don't know who smudged that. Their lips were all over you, and you're still trying to deny it. What, you think I'm that kind of guy? He seemed to be getting angry too. Fine. If you've made up your mind, then fine. We're done. No further explanation, no attempt to make me stay. He threw those words at me and left. I cried alone for a long time. He didn't contact me. A day later, I received a security video from him. No words, just the video. In the corner of the bar, a girl's high heel had buckled as she walked by, causing her to stumble into him. Her lips had brushed against his jacket. So I had actually wronged him. I didn't know what to do. I sent him a text, I'm sorry. He didn't reply. But he posted a video on his social feed from a party, with several girls laughing and smiling around him. I was furious and anxious. I rushed over immediately. When I pushed open the door to the private room, his eyes landed on me, and he instantly flared up. Who let you come out dressed like that? I had left in such a hurry I forgot to change out of my pajamas. He blocked me from view, took off his jacket, and wrapped it tightly around me. His tone was fierce. Go home. Now. You're coming with me. I'm in a business meeting. Don't cause a scene. Then, I'll wait for you. I clung to the hem of his shirt and refused to let go. Someone started teasing, whoa, is this the missus? She keeps a tight leash, huh? John's face was grim, but he didn't deny it. I sat quietly beside him while they talked business, staring down at my feet. As he talked to the others, he angrily picked the strawberries out of the fruit platter and shoved them at me. When we got home, he was still ignoring me. I sidled up to him. Don't be mad anymore, okay? We broke up. What's there for me to be mad about? I'm ecstatic. Let's not break up, okay? I asked quietly. You say break up, we break up. You say don't, we don't? He sneered. Jane, in your eyes, I'm just some fickle asshole who cheats on you every chance he gets, right? I knew I was in the wrong. I hugged him and started kissing him. He wouldn't bend down. John, just lean down a little. He finally snapped, pinning me against the wall. Janie, you don't have to act like the world's biggest victim all the time. You can barely squeeze out a single nice word. I whispered, I'm not a victim. He kissed me fiercely. Dealing with you is more than enough. You think I have the energy to keep another one on the side? That night, he was rough and relentless. No matter how much I cried and begged, he was unmoved. He even cruelly demanded. Besides, I'm sorry, what else can you say? Can't you try being a little sweet? I don't know how. Say, babe, don't be mad anymore. I couldn't bring myself to say it, so he deliberately tortured me. He wouldn't give me any relief until I finally choked out, babe, don't be mad, and I like you the most. The topic of breaking up never came up again. I didn't ask, and he didn't mention it. My junior year, John's business was doing well, and he started sending me money more frequently. He was always surrounded by women, a center of attention wherever he went. Meanwhile, a guy at my school was pursuing me, and everyone knew about it. I rejected him time and time again, earning me the nickname the Ice Queen. But no one knew that under the Ice Queen's clothes were a trail of hickeys that belonged to another man. That relationship was emotionally draining, yet it was also my only source of support. I secretly looked forward to graduation, just 1 year away. Maybe then we could be like a normal couple, out in the open. But I never made it to graduation. John spoke first. Janie, this is getting boring. Let's end it. I stared at him, stunned. Why? He just said he was tired of sleeping with me. I'm at that age. I want to get married and have kids. I cried, grabbing his arm, my words tumbling out. Wait 1 more year for me, we can get married too, we can have kids. He cut me off coldly. Don't be so cheap. Janie, we're not on the same path. We should have ended this a long time ago. He sent me another sum of money. A full $300,000. And then I couldn't find him anywhere. He had sold the apartment behind the internet cafe. His friend told me he sold his shares in the bar and left town. I didn't believe it. I did something rebellious. I went to his bar and ordered 3 male escorts. I used his money. It was the first time I'd ever used the card he gave me. I thought, if he still cared, he would show up. But he never did. Janie, stop waiting. He's dead set on breaking up, his friend advised me. He found someone else, didn't he? I honestly don't know about that. Have you known him a long time? Yeah, since we were 15 or 16. He was our leader back then. When someone bullied me, he stood up for me. John's parents divorced and remarried a long time ago. He was raised by his grandma. After she passed, he was on his own, fending for himself on the streets, taking beatings and getting bullied, always handling it alone. You two are from different worlds. It would never have worked out. That year, I got a scholarship to study abroad and spend a year as an exchange student. When I graduated, I was accepted directly into the graduate program at my university. My advisor said my personality was suited for research. So I just kept going, all the way to a PhD. The card John gave me had a total of $480,000 in it. I never touched it. In John's office. After explaining the project's data model for the 3rd time, my patience was wearing thin. Mr. Vance, did you understand my explanation this time? He leaned back in his chair, tapping his fingers on the desk, his gaze hooking into mine. Ms. Miller, I'm still having a little trouble with this variable analysis. Where are you having trouble? I pointed at the chart on the tablet screen. You see, here we assume. Before I could finish, he suddenly reached out and covered my hand as I held the stylus. Here, he said, guiding my hand to draw a circle. His breath brushed against my ear. Isn't the range of fluctuation set a bit too conservatively? The warmth from his palm was scorching, the familiar scent washing over me. 5 years, and that scent could still unravel me so easily. He looked up, a hint of mischief in his eyes. I'm not a very educated man, and I'm a bit slow on the uptake. I hope Ms. Miller can help me gain a deeper understanding. He deliberately dragged out the last few words, making them sound ambiguous. I suspected he was doing this on purpose. Just then, there was a knock on the door. A secretary came in carrying an insulated lunchbox. Mr. Vance, Ms. Anderson sent over lunch. She said it's a new dish and wants to see if you like it. If you do, she'll make it for you again tomorrow. Inside the container were several light but exquisitely prepared dishes. John just gave a noncommittal MHM. But my heart suddenly clenched. He wasn't married, but that didn't mean there wasn't someone in his life. Of course. A man of his status wouldn't be short on female company. What was I even thinking? My phone vibrated. It was a call from Ian, the underclassman my advisor had mentioned was pursuing me. Jane, I heard you're consulting at Vance Corp. What a coincidence, my brother's company is in the same building. What time's your lunch break? Want to grab a bite downstairs? I paused for a second, then quickly replied, sure, give me a minute. He could eat his girlfriend's lovingly prepared lunch here, and I could go have lunch with someone else. Mr. Vance, I won't disturb your meal, then. I turned to leave, but realized he was following me. I'm going downstairs to eat too, he explained. But didn't he have food? In the restaurant. He sat at the table directly across from Ian and me. Ian didn't seem to notice and chattered on excitedly. Jane, thanks so much for coming. I know you're not over your dead ex-boyfriend yet, but I'll wait. Time heals all wounds. A cold glare shot over from my side. I lowered my head in embarrassment. Actually, he's not dead. Ian froze, then blurted out, so when is he going to die? A cold laugh came from the side. He probably wasn't going to die anytime soon. As soon as I got back to the office, John cornered me behind the door. His tall frame loomed over me. Well done, Jane Miller. Going around telling everyone I'm dead? I felt a surge of guilt but remained stubborn. I wasn't talking about you. Mr. Vance, please don't assume. Very good. He gritted his teeth and asked, you like that little pretty boy? Yes. He's too young. Unreliable. I like them young. Younger guys have energy. Old men are insecure and have weak kidneys. I kept up my tough act, secretly competing with him. My kidneys are weak? I'm old and saggy and only worth $2,000 a month, is that it? He was grinding his teeth in frustration. Look at you, Jane Miller. Got a big mouth now, don't you? Used to be you couldn't string 2 words together. That's right. I've grown a backbone. I stuck my chin out and met his gaze. Don't worry, Mr. Vance. I won't be pathetic and cling to you like I used to. You have someone bringing you love-filled lunches, and I don't have a shortage of admirers either. Thinking about how cautious I used to be, I realized I could live without him. And seeing him angry was surprisingly satisfying. What love-filled lunch? Jane Miller, your talent for spreading rumors has only gotten stronger over the years. That was my goddamn special diet meal. What special diet meal? A sense of unease flickered through me. You're sick. What's wrong with you? He turned away. None of your business. If I die, it has nothing to do with you. What is wrong with you? He threw out a stiff reply. Just what your advisor said. A terminal illness. My heart clenched again. He couldn't really have a serious illness, could he? But he was ignoring me now. I quietly found his secretary to get the real story. Is Mr. Vance sick? The secretary said, Mr. Vance's stomach problems have gotten worse this year. The doctor put him on a strict bland diet to help it heal. Most restaurant food is too oily and salty. Ms. Anderson was my college roommate. She runs a professional nutrition service and delivers his meals every day at noon. So that was it. I had misunderstood him again. Oh, Jane. Why did you have to be so stubborn just now? I hung my head in defeat. I brought the insulated lunchbox to his office, my voice a few notches softer. You didn't eat anything at lunch. The food is still warm. Not hungry. He didn't even look at it, his tone cold as ice. Don't be mad. He ignored me, picking up a file. I bit my lip and quietly backed out of the room. As I was about to slip out at the end of the workday, he called out to me. I'll give you a ride. He picked up his car keys, his expression seeming to have softened a bit. He drove in silence the whole way. When we reached the campus gate, I remembered something. I took the card I had saved for years out of my bag and handed it to him. John, this is the money you gave me back then, plus the $100,000 for my mom. It's $580,000 in total. I had wanted to return this money to him for a long time. My needs were simple. I had scholarships and aid during school, and I worked part-time jobs in my free time. I had finally saved up enough to pay him back. He glanced at the card, and his face instantly darkened. What's this? I don't want to owe you anything, I said. He stared at me, then suddenly let out a cold laugh. Jane Miller, does my money make you that uncomfortable? I was silent, not knowing how to answer. What was I even doing? Being a hypocrite, I guess. At least if I gave him the money, I would feel better about myself. Yes. My mouth opened, my throat tight. This card is a constant reminder that this is the money I earned by selling my body all those years. Selling your body? He repeated the words coldly. Jane Miller, were those 3 years with me so humiliating for you? I lowered my head and sniffled. It wasn't humiliation. It was the pain of unrequited love, the injustice of an unequal relationship. He would never understand. Take this money, and we're even, I said, turning my head away from him. At least if I paid him back, we would be equals. Even? Who said we're even? He laughed, his voice laced with fury. He challenged me, you sold your body? Then what does that make me? You're John. Without me, you wouldn't have been able to take your exams, wouldn't have been able to go to school in peace. I worked my ass off every day to make money, and I still had to take care of you. Hell, you could say I was the one selling my body. So shouldn't you be paying me for my services? After all, I always made sure you were very, very satisfied. His words were crude, and I was instantly furious and ashamed. You're shameless. I had discovered you just can't reason with a rogue. I pushed the door to get out of the car. He suddenly grabbed my wrist. He pushed me down against the seat and kissed me. I didn't react at first. My mind went completely blank. The familiar heat of his body and his scent washed over me. He was angry, and his kiss was domineering and forceful. I was almost out of breath. Just then, a frantic shout came from outside the car. Stop that. Oh my God, why was my advisor banging on the window outside? He looked like he was about to commit murder. In the chaos, I bit John hard. We separated and awkwardly got out of the car. Professor Davis threw me behind him and rolled up his sleeves, ready to swing at John. John Vance, how dare you take advantage of my student? He didn't forget to lecture me. Jane, don't be afraid. We may be short on cash, but we don't have to sell ourselves for it. Academics have integrity. We will not bow to capitalism. If he dares to lay a hand on my student, I'll kill him. He started swinging a fist at John. John was panicking too. Professor Davis, please, calm down. I quickly grabbed him, shouting, John is my ex-boyfriend. The professor's hand froze mid-air. He took a few seconds to process it. Well, why didn't you say so earlier? Then, his face changed in an instant. A misunderstanding, a total misunderstanding. I was just saying, you two are so, you look great together. A perfect match. John was very gracious. Thank you for taking care of Jane all these years, Professor Davis. Not at all, not at all. A teacher is like a father. It's my duty to look after my students. But now that she has someone to protect her, I can rest easy. Professor Davis couldn't stop smiling. His tone shifted. So, speaking of which, about our research project. John nodded. Of course we'll invest. Is $5 million enough? Professor Davis grabbed John's hand excitedly. Oh. My dear son-in-law, my dear Mr. Vance. So generous. By the way, when are you two getting married? You're not getting any younger, you know. I just stood there, completely dumbfounded. I inexplicably became the hero of the lab. Everyone was talking about how my rekindled romance with my ex-boyfriend had saved our precarious project. Especially since John started showing up at the university all the time. The rumors even escalated to us getting married. Seriously, who was spreading this stuff? I found John to clear things up. You don't have to pay any attention to the rumors. What rumors? He asked, looking up at me. The ones, saying we're a couple. Don't let it affect you. Why? He stared at me, displeased. So you want me to be your secret lover? That's not what I meant. Jane Miller, I've already sunk $5 million into your lab. You haven't broken up with that little pretty boy yet, have you? What was he even talking about? I felt like some princess being sent off in a political marriage. Call him right now and break up with him. I'm not calling. Fine. Then I'm pulling the funding. You're despicable. Are you going to call him or not? We weren't together. I admitted defeat, my voice small. What? I said we weren't together. He was relentless and needed a reason, so I said I couldn't get over my dead ex-boyfriend. He froze for a second, then a low chuckle escaped him. Then, he reached out, pulled me into his arms, and leaned down to kiss me. No, someone will see. I pushed against him. So? Our noses touched, our breaths mingling. Am I someone to be ashamed of? I suddenly remembered the past, and that old familiar ache of being wronged surfaced. You used to never even park at the school gate. He tightened his arms around me, his voice dropping low. I just didn't want your classmates to see you had a poor, uneducated boyfriend. But I didn't care. I cared, he said, looking at me seriously. Janie, gossip can hurt. And I didn't want you to be looked down on because of me. But you never said you liked me. Years of pent-up sorrow welled up in my eyes. I don't like you, so I slept with you. I don't like you, so I gave you money. I don't like you, so I've been thinking about you all these years. What, am I a masochist? He seemed exasperated by my denseness. Then why did you break up with me? That year, someone more suitable for you appeared. And didn't you get that scholarship to study abroad? He sighed in frustration. Why would I hold you back? I'm older than you, with no education and no connections. What kind of life could you have with me? It was just a youthful impulse. In a few years, once you'd seen more of the world, you would have met someone better, someone more your equal. I was afraid you'd regret it. So that's what he was thinking. Hearing the worries he had never voiced, the years of resentment and confusion in my heart instantly dissolved. The tears fell even harder. I wouldn't have regretted it. I leaned against his chest, repeating the words over and over. No one could compare to him. From the moment he pulled me out of the mud when I was 18, he had already won everything. There would never be another John Vance in this world. All right, what else are you unhappy about? He cupped my face, looking resigned. You wouldn't let me post on my feed, or set you as my wallpaper, I mumbled. I just wanted to be like a normal couple, to be acknowledged openly, to have that sense of security. He took out his phone and, in one go, changed his lock screen, wallpaper, messenger avatar, and social media profile picture to photos of us. Satisfied? He asked, raising an eyebrow. Emicham. I replied quietly, a sweet feeling blooming in my chest. Any other demands? Can't think of any right now. Fine. We'll save them for later. I suddenly felt so pathetic. He could always win me over with just a few words. Because I liked him, he had me completely wrapped around his finger. He took me back to the little apartment we used to share. I bought it back as soon as I made my first real money, he said. It's just like it was before. I looked around, then couldn't resist a playful jab. Except the owner's gotten old. The John of that year was 21, a cocky, handsome kid who feared nothing. Today's John was 29. The youthful arrogance was gone, replaced by the steady, quiet confidence of a mature man. Heh, I'm old. His eyes darkened. He swept me up into his arms and carried me toward the bedroom. Jane Miller, it's time to settle our accounts. I was tossed onto the bed, and his body immediately followed. Who's old and saggy? Whose kidneys are weak? Tell me. How did he still remember that? He nibbled on my earlobe, whispering insistently, do you like the older brother or the younger brother? I like the older brothers, little brother. He had me melting into a puddle. All I could do was beg for mercy, but he only intensified his efforts. Am I old? Am I weak? He was like a madman, trying to prove something. I felt like my body was about to fall apart. In a haze, I heard a loud creak. The bed had collapsed. John propped himself up, looked at the battle-worn little bed, and sighed. We need to get a bigger bed. This one's a bit restrictive. I covered my face. Later, when we were out shopping for a bed, we ran into the friend he'd opened the bar with. He was holding the hand of a small toddler who was just learning to walk, cute as a button. I couldn't help but crouch down to play with the child. If you like them so much, have one of your own. His friend laughed. John hasn't had it easy all these years. It's good you two finally made it work. He looked at me, a little embarrassed. Janie, back then, it wasn't that I was trying to hide where John went. It's okay. I shook my head. It was all in the past. But seriously, I've never met a guy more lovesick than him, the friend remarked. I was curious. Really? I always thought he didn't really like me that much. His friend laughed. He didn't like you? He sold his internet cafe to rescue you from that hellhole, remember? I froze. What did you say? He sold the internet cafe, for me? Yeah. Someone was offering a high price for it, but he kept refusing, saying it was his foundation. Then your mom tried to force you into that marriage, asking for $100,000, right? He didn't hesitate. Turned right around and signed the contract with that guy. And when you were in college, he heard you were framed for stealing. So you wouldn't be looked down on, he bought you that $12,000 watch. He didn't have that kind of money back then. He had $5,000 in his pocket. For the rest, he had no choice. He sold his body to a medical trial, made $8,000, and put it all together. And the year you two broke up, that $300,000? That was his money from selling the bar. He gave it all to you. Guys have their pride. He'd probably never tell you this stuff. You students haven't been out in the real world, you don't know how hard it is to make a living. Every penny he earned was tough. He worked as a bouncer, hauled cement on construction sites, he did it all. Renting you an apartment, sending you money, meanwhile, he was often skipping meals himself. He's ruined his stomach over the years. As his friend rambled on, telling me all these stories I'd never known, every word landed like a sledgehammer on my heart. When I was 18, he sold his livelihood to buy my freedom. When I was 21, he sold his promising future to give me the means to fly away. And when I was 19, to buy me a watch so I wouldn't be looked down on, he subjected himself to being a human guinea pig. I always thought he didn't like me. For those 3 years, I always felt like I was the one chasing him, felt wronged, felt like he didn't care. But I never knew that, in places I couldn't see, he had suffered so much and given so much for me. Jane Miller, you are such an idiot. John came back after paying and saw my tear-streaked face. He froze. Why are you crying? I threw myself into his arms, pounding on his chest, sobbing uncontrollably. John, you bastard, how could you hide so much from me? Even after all these years, just thinking about the hardships he endured made my heart ache so much I could barely breathe. He held me, patting my back helplessly. It's all in the past. No need to get all dramatic about it. You don't tell me anything. You carry everything yourself. Okay, then I'll tell you. John's perspective. Taking in Jane Miller was a complete accident. I don't know what wire got crossed in my brain that day, but I brought her home. She was like a weed, ignored by everyone, but fiercely growing on her own. She rarely spoke, keeping everything bottled up, but her spirit was as stubborn as a mule's. Watching her chew on a dry bun, I felt something stir inside me. I started bringing food home without thinking. I'd worry if she was safe alone at home, and I'd inexplicably want to get back earlier. I thought I must be sick, getting so hung up on a little girl. Seeing the apartment, sparkling clean after she'd tidied up, I felt a daze. For the first time, I felt like I had a home. At night, lying on the sofa, the white underwear swaying on the balcony clothesline caught my eye, and I suddenly couldn't sleep. I thought, this kind of life is pretty good. Marrying her wouldn't be so bad. But she was meant to fly away. She didn't belong here. I was born in the mud, covered in filth. Why should I drag her down with me? I wanted her to fly even farther. Selling the internet cafe to save her, I had no regrets. I never wanted anything in return. But when she hugged me, trembling, and said she liked me, all my reason evaporated. My dreams became reality, and I greedily drank in her warmth. I told myself, just this one summer. Once she starts school, I'll let her go for good. I forced myself not to contact her. Until I heard she was being framed for theft. I couldn't hold back anymore. I wanted to beat up everyone who had bullied her. But fists couldn't solve the problem. I wanted her to be able to hold her head high. I was so poor back then. To get the money, I joined a medical trial. The side effects were pretty bad. I was in pain most nights. I didn't regret it. I didn't want my girl to be looked down on by anyone. Making money was hard, exhausting. It felt hopeless trying to claw my way up from the bottom. Countless nights, I'd watch her sleep and lie awake. She had a bright future. She was an ivory tower princess. Not a punk like me, rolling around in the mud. I deliberately distanced myself, trying to push her back toward her world of light. But the moment she got close, the moment she showed a hint of weakness, I would lose all control and my heart would soften. I told myself, just a little longer. Wait until she's a little older, a little more independent. For her, I started to fight my way up, to make more money, to, maybe one day, stand by her side, openly. But I always knew, with sober clarity, that we were from different worlds. There were plenty of guys chasing her. Their families, their educations, their futures, all 100 times better than mine. I even felt like I was tainting her. I knew she had gotten the study abroad scholarship, even though she didn't tell me. It was such a great opportunity. Why hold her back? What was the point? She was meant to fly so much farther. My friends called me a lovesick fool for giving her the nest egg I had worked so hard to build. I didn't feel like it was a loss. I even felt that money wasn't nearly enough. I sold the apartment, leaving myself no way back. I got out of the bar business. The nightclub scene was a mess. I didn't like it, and it didn't make her feel safe. Without Jane Miller, I might still be drifting aimlessly, just getting by. Now, I wanted to make something of myself. Those years were exhausting. Sometimes I'd fall asleep right on a construction site. When I missed her so much it hurt, I'd look up at the moon. Maybe she was looking at it too. All these years, I've been quietly watching her. She's ambitious, she's brilliant. I pushed myself to never stop. I even picked up books on management, on finance, to improve my education. When we met again, she was already a PhD. Oh well, that was one thing I could never achieve. It's fine. She can focus on her research, and I'll focus on making money to support her dreams. This time, I will never let her go. She resents me. John, you never told me you liked me. How could I not like her? I was the one who was always wrapped around her finger. If I don't lean down, how can you reach me to kiss me? Janie, I love you.